Speaker.
I call the Honourable Minister Chris Finlayson.
I just want to begin by endorsing what my friend Mr Henare said a little while ago, that we shouldn't really call these hours extended hours, we should call them treaty settlement days, because today is a great day for treaty settlements. We have the first reading of this bill, and I welcome the representatives of Ngati Whatua Kaipara to Parliament. Then a little later on we're going to have the second reading of the Ngati Whatua Orake settlement bill, and then the Ngati Manuhiri claims settlement bill second reading. And that follows on closely on the heels of the Tamaki collective deed signing just a few weeks ago in Tamaki. And so September 2012 has actually been a big month for Ngati Whatua iwi, who are working very hard and are getting very close to finalising comprehensive settlements across their region. As others have said, the iwi's core area of interest encompasses the entirety of the southern Kaipara, from South Head to Muriwai on the west coast, and from near Wellsford to the Upper Waitemata Harbour to the east. And of course, as we all know, the Kaipara Harbour is at the heart of this area and of Ngati Whatua o Kaipara, and as Dr Sharple said, is one area where the negotiations are still to come. And I've promised Nader Glavish that I'm keen to commence these negotiations as soon as possible, and I'm sure Mr Horomia would endorse the fact that empty promises don't go down all that well with Nader Glavish. From the signing of the treaty in 1840, Ngati Whatua o Kaipara has remained steadfast in its support of the Crown. And while the relationship in the first few decades of the colony may have been acceptable and the iwi flourished, the sad reality is that as time passed, the Crown's actions fell well short of the grand promises made in the treaty, and by the end of the 19th century, the iwi had been rendered virtually landless, with the inevitable and terrible social and economic consequences. I have to say that as negotiations go, and they're never as fast as one would like, and I won't look up to the gallery because the negotiators are all probably nodding in unison, but the reality of the matter is that this has been a comparatively rapid conclusion to negotiations. We signed an agreement in principle late in the year, 22 December 2009, and with the help of the officials and the negotiators, we managed to reach the signing of a deed of settlement on a beautiful Friday in September last year. However, these dates belie a very long period where Ngati Whatua o Kaipara has sought recognition of the failings and the injustices that they've suffered. In 1987, their leaders provided evidence during the lands case. The tribunal heard the claims of Ngati Whatua o Kaipara between 1999 and 2001 and reported on them in 2006, but really from 2002 they've been trying to get on with negotiations, and as Mr Sharple said, or Dr Sharple said, they finally began in 2009. It shouldn't be assumed that these negotiations were straightforward. They had their challenges, all negotiations do, but it's the wish, I believe, of this entire House that what the settlement will do is provide Ngati Whatua o Kaipara with a solid platform for its ongoing partnership with the Crown and with other agencies such as the Auckland Council. We all know it's not possible fully to compensate Ngati Whatua o Kaipara for the loss their people have suffered, but hopefully the financial and the commercial redress will contribute to the iwi's future development, while the cultural redress in this bill seeks to recognise Ngati Whatua o Kaipara's long-standing and deep cultural and significant association with its area of interest. So, Mr Speaker, I don't intend to say any more than that. My comments in the third reading will be lengthier, but for the present time, I think that will suffice. All I want to say is that the bill should proceed to the Māori Affairs Select Committee without delay, and that under the great leadership of Mr. Henare and ably assisted by the other members of that committee, I'm sure they'll look at the bill and the committee will consider the bill, and it will hopefully be back here very soon.
I call the honourable member